One of the wildest battles we've seen in this series unfolded last week at Lernerville. A back and forth that saw the lead change multiple times between three different drivers unfortunately came to a head with a caution. But it certainly set the stage for this bull ring style quarter miler and lines up what could be another titanic battle. Will the fight continue? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 7 of the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Ducky Beer. Fairbury has a rich history with the world of outlaws in spite of the circuit's small size. Let's head to our track guide to learn more.
Welcome to Fairbury Speedway, a 3-time UMP Dirt Car Track of the Year, and home of the Prairie Dirt Classic, one of the premier summer events in the upper Midwest featuring the World of Outlaws late models. Racing here dates back to horse racing in the late 1800s. As time evolved, a different kind of horsepower took over, and at one point, wood was even the surface here, as in 1917, World War I Medal of Honor recipient Eddie Rickenbacker attempted to break a world speed record on a motorcycle. Racing continued on through the 20s, but the Great Depression and then World War II put a damper on the motors. The 40s were a boon though, with names like Bettenhausen took their midgets around the newly carved out 1/5 mile oval. Stock cars joined the fray, and before you knew it, had taken over prominence in an otherwise open wheel dominated part of the country. After several evolutions and modernizations, Fairbury Speedway has become its quarter mile self, hosting weekly late model, modifieds, and street stock races. The stock car fendered variety of racing really dominates the weekly program here in north central Illinois. But you open wheel fans, don't fret. Many regional series make stops here as well, so on any given weekend you are bound to find sprint cars, both the winged and non-winged variety, and midgets, making runs around Fairbury in addition to the home track contingent. Even the big boys, the World of Outlaws sprint cars, come here. Basically, if we have the dirt car on iRacing, it runs right here at Fairbury Speedway.
Well, DJ, Fairbury, I have to imagine, is going to be cramped, especially with such big cars out there racing.
Yeah, it certainly is, Joe. It is a very, very narrow confine of a circuit, and as we've seen a lot of times during the course of this season, the high line probably gonna be the preferred line here. Now, that's for two reasons. One, a little bit of progressive banking around the track. You're able to carry a lot more speed in that up to 16 degrees on the high side. And then the second part is some of the monster tractor tires that are down low. If you try to go down there, they can really come out and bite you. So drivers are gonna have to be careful about that. The one thing that I will say about this, though, that could provide a little bit of good excitement for us is because of just how wide it actually is in the middle of the corner, how long that banking extends up. It's a good chance for throwing some slide jobs here, so we'll have to keep an eye on that once we get into the heat and main feature races.
Now, we certainly saw some variance last time we visited, but let's take a look at the championship here, as we've got Brandon Proudfoot now well ahead of Hargraves as he finished 4th in the end last round, being the victim, unfortunately, of that wreck at the very end. To Northcutt catching up a little bit to Hargraves, and then J.R. Shepard a bit of a distance behind in something of a fight for 4th, with John Wilson split by only 10 points between them. Of course, we also have race details in case we have new viewers coming in for the first time. DJ, why don't you run us down?
Well, Joe, we're in the 7th of 11 rounds here in the BRL Dirt Street Stock Series, running the iRacing Dirt Street Stocks. Now, it's a heat race format tonight, so fans of dirt across the U.S. will be familiar. Everybody is out on track right now for some practice runs. There will be a 5-minute, 4-lap solo qualifying sessions for drivers to set their best time. That will determine the order for the heat races. We will see up to 6 cars in those heat races, no inversions, and the top 3 3 will automatically advance to the A main. All other drivers will be relegated back to the B main, and of that, everybody will make the main field. We are not at our cap tonight, so that B main just going to determine the starting order for the back of the field. Once we get into the feature race, now that's going to be 40 laps, all cars out on track, and that's going to be the only time we see a yellow flag get thrown tonight. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is that we do not reset this track at any point. So where on the track and figuring out how to read it and what the fastest line is as the track evolves throughout the night, always crucial.
Well, the last 4 minutes as we take a look at Seneca out there riding. And he's got his VR headset on. We got a few of our onboards, of course, with us. And the drivers should hopefully make good use of that VR tonight. As you mentioned, very wide there. You can see just how wide it is around there. And drivers, we couldn't even see the other driver racing against him there for much of that. We didn't see who that was, but I did see an orange and white bumper kind of sticking out for him. Right now, Michael Davis is still out there. We see J.R. Shepard also running, trying to redeem himself. One of the drivers vying for a top spot last week, along with Brandon Proudfoot. So should be some fun out there with them today. Here we are on board with J.R. Shepard, trying that low line. Like you were talking about, you can see just how shallow it is compared to up high.
Yeah, very much so. Almost no banking there down on that low line, so it is very difficult to try to maintain speed going through there. It also does make the slider a little bit hard if you go as low as you can go all the way up high, just because you're not really having any sort of centrifugal force to carry you up the track until you start to hit that banking, so that transition can be a little bit of a problem. Riding on board again with Seneca, you can see just how much wheel he's having to put in that car, even on the exit of the corner. Very tricky, very loose conditions out there tonight.
Down below him, that's John Wilson, who is continuing to race them. They're getting plenty of practice and some side-by-side action, so that should certainly help us keep some green flags going. One thing, a very unique aspect, and there you see him kind of going over it right there, John Wilson out of turn 4. We saw a little bump play a role in the end of the race last time we visited here, DJ, that strange little hump on the inside of 4.
Yeah, and it's something drivers are going to have to watch out for. Those little variations on dirt tracks, they're one of the things that makes coming to as many dirt tracks as there are across the states really special. That bump can throw off the cars ever so slightly, maybe cause a little bit of wheel spin, and really cause a problem for drivers. So they're going to have to be careful of that, be cognizant of it. Rest assured, drivers will remember it when they're starting out, but you get into the heat of the battle and your brain may get a little thrown because of it.
Chris Davis currently our quickest on the track in the warm-up by about 4/100ths of a second with a 14.687 over Jason Menda. And we're already getting quite a bit of slicked up outside line. We're looking at Belke, who is running down low in the number 24. He's going to try and whip it back to the outside. Ooh, taking it right down to those tractor tires. Another one of our onboards that we will be watching today, but hasn't slicked up on the bottom. Wonder if that'll play a part as things develop, if drivers can find that little bit more speed and grip down towards the inside of the corners. Only 15 cars have shown up so far. Now they are able to get in up until the dying stages of the qualifying, and after that it's locked down and nobody else is allowed to join the race session. So we could get some surprises, but sadly we're not seeing Hargraves out there, as well as Northcutt.
Yeah, two of the big title rivals here that have been putting in some of these titanic battles. They are not out on circuit, but we have heard Brandon Proudfoot not only talking about those two guys, but just the level of talent across the field, how impressed and frankly threatened he feels by them. Everybody constantly upping their game in the Bootleg Racing League, really making a strong showing. And so I think even though we are missing those two drivers, Joe, we should still be in for a very good race here tonight.
I'm definitely looking forward to it because now we don't have anybody between J.R. Shepherd and Brandon Proudfoot, and I'm starting to think he might be one of the ones to take the fight to him. We'll see if he does today as they now take off on their qualifying. Now, again, if you are new to this, they only get 4 laps, and it is their fastest time that will count it. I'm curious to see which line is going to be quicker out here, because we've seen the last couple races that sometimes it's been a bit of a toss-up between that low and high line in qualifying as to which is faster.
Very true, Joe. You may see some guys come out, run the high line early, and maybe dive back down into the pits and then try the low line again. Looks like Brendan Myers is taking a little bit of a middle ground there. Not super low, not super high. He's going to come around late start-finish line here on the main straight. That'll play in once we get into the races itself.
Yeah, it could have an effect on some of those over-under battles with those slide jobs. Myers actually holds the provisional pole as a few of our runners get a time in. Waiting for some more of them. John Wilson is currently our second quickest and a whole 10th behind him, but we haven't seen Shepherd or Proudfoot get out onto the track yet.
No, we have not. Watching Connor Berry right now, the California driver trying to take the 28 around the circuit. Taking again. He was on that middle line through 1 and 2, now high through 3 and 4. Car got a little bit sideways, had to catch it. That'll probably cost him a little bit of time, and indeed, he's about 2/10 off his best.
Still nobody able to beat Brendan Myers. He's finished all 4 of his laps, so he's not able to respond. He's about 3/100ths faster than John Wilson, who just finished up his. As we watch Michael Davis, who sits in 7th. This is Chris Davis as well. He was in 3rd, gets bumped down to 5th. And his last lap not going to be an improvement. Brendan Myers actually gets beat out by Connor Berry. He took the pole. His last lap, he actually tumbles over, so he's done for the day. But he now holds the fastest marker. It looks like we've got Hayes and Shepherd out there.
We do indeed, and here comes Justin Morton. He was one of the guys I was sort of promoting, wasn't there last week. Normally a great high side runner. He could have some effects, but let's check in on J.R. Shepherd. That first lap out of 15-1, not great. That's going to put him in 8th. He's going to have some work to do.
Certainly, and let's not forget about Bobby Hayes, the teammate of Brandon Proudfoot, who has been showing up more and more often and sometimes beat him. Shepherd up to 4th on his second lap. This is Hayes. He puts it in 9th on his first flyer. What about Shepherd on his 3rd lap? Can he go faster than that 14.9? No, looks like he touched the wall, so he gets one last try.
And Shepherd trying that low line through 1 and 2, and again through 3 and 4. You can see just how upset the car gets. This is a very, very bumpy dirt track. Comes across the line, unable to improve again.
Bobby Hayes for his 3rd lap does not count. He must have tipped the wall as well. So 4th time through. Bobby Hayes, can he get himself closer to the front? And we see Brandon Proudfoot coming out onto the track as Hayes crosses. 15.252 is not going to cut it. He'll stay in 10th. Proudfoot on his first lap of 15 flat. That'll go 7th for the 22 car.
Rides the high line through 1 and 2, continues that on through 3 and 4. He has got the feeling for it. Let's see if he can improve on that time. Ooh, just a couple of hundredths there of improvement. He's going to stay in 6th, though.
Still gets 2 more tries. He's the last driver to set a time. He does have plenty of time in this session to complete both of them, even though he waited until late. It's a 14.919. That'll put him into 2nd. He only needs to make up 100th of a second to overtake Connor Berry. Can he fight it? He's getting very close to the wall. If he touches it, it'll discount the lap. And as he crosses, he did touch it. It's not going to count. So he will stay in 2nd. But clearly quick. Connor Berry, though, surprise of the night in that number 88, showing up and putting it on the pole.
Very impressive run there for Connor. And what I think is really interesting to take away, though, is we saw a lot of drivers flirting with some alternate lines, medium to low lines. Proudfoot is the only one that I noticed that stuck on the high side the entire time out. So we'll have to see if that's just a preferred line. Maybe he's having a little bit of hesitancy about diving low. It'll be a storyline to check out once we get into the heats and the features.
All right, we're letting the last few seconds tick away, and then we'll advance on into the first heat of the evening. Of course, 15, so I believe we'll see 3 heats of 5, most likely. We'll see if that does prove to be true as they start to grid up. And indeed, yeah, we should see 3 heats this evening. So let's go through the starting order of the first one. It is going to be Connor Berry starting on the top spot. John Wilson will be to his outside, and Chris Davis will start from third.
In fourth is going to be Austin Belke, and then lining up in fifth, it's Christopher Schaefer.
These will be very quick races. If you're joining us for the first time, only 6 laps, and this will determine their starting order for the feature. If you finish within the top 3, the other 2 will go to a B main, where that race will determine their start position in the feature. So if you're starting from 4th or 5th, the impetus is to make some overtakes.
Exactly, but the one driver I'm going to be keeping an eye out for, besides Austin Belke, who we ride on board with, is the number 7 of Chris Davis. Now, he's starting off in third, but Chris is a very aggressive driver, always fun to keep an eye on, so let's see what that yellow, black, and pink number 7 can do.
A little bit of a bump into the wall there for the 75 of John Wilson. He's got to pay attention. But these are pretty rough and sturdy cars, so I think he'll get away with that just fine as the pace truck now comes into the pits, and it is given control over to Connor Berry, waiting for it, and the green flag is out. A better start for the 88, a threaten to the inside as the 7 manages to nearly get by the 75, but Wilson's going to fight back. A little bit of loss of traction for the 23 as he falls to the back with Belke ahead of him. Looks like second's going to go to Chris Davis as Wilson falls back to third.
Yeah, exactly. Davis able to make that slider work very well. Couldn't get the overlap coming out of 1 and 2, but stuck with it. Very interesting here. Connor Berry sticking down on the inside here. Doesn't want to go to the high line. Davis is a little bit above him. Ooh, big slide there for Berry. That's going to let Davis close in a little bit more, but Davis tags the wall.
Tags it in a big way, too, as Berry is one of the most unusual lines I've ever seen. It's not working very well as well, as Davis has gotten to his inside, and Davis is going to take the lead away from the 88. 2 to go when they come to the line. This would give him the top spot in the feature race if Davis can finish here, as Connor Berry continues to try to work a little bit of a higher line. This time now he's entering higher. 2 laps to go. Coming to the white flag, gives a shove to the number 7, lets him know he's there.
Indeed, as they take that white flag, Berry trying again, now sticking to that high side. He's got a little bit better grip, but Davis just looks like he has the mark of him as they dive into 3 and 4 for the last time.
Coming out of the corner, he's going to send a slider. He gets into him. That sends him around and to the line. Davis takes the win. Wilson is in second, and Belke's in third. Connor Berry, in an absolute shocker, falls to 4th and goes to the consolation race. That means Christopher Schaefer is the other one that will join him, and we move on to Heat 2. Wow, Brandon Proudfoot starts on the pole for this one. J.R. Shepard will be to his outside, and Gary Clinton starts from third.
To the outside of Gary Clinton is going to be Bobby Hayes, and bringing up the back of the field will be the 81 of Joe Segala.
All right, waiting for the pace truck to take off. Now, DJ, if I'm honest, I'm really baffled as to what Connor was doing with that racing line. It's never one I've seen. It was almost like he sent it in shallow and hoped that the car would have speed coming off, which is the exact opposite of what you usually want with the street stock.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. It was a bit of an odd line, and I think where he was really falling into problems is when he would bring that car out wide. Normally, that's the point where you want those rear tires to really grip up and give you a good jump off the line, but that was bringing him right up into the slick stuff, and he had absolutely no grip up there, and so it was just bad upon bad.
Yeah, it really produced the most horrible result for him as the pace truck is in and Proudfoot is off with a very good start down to his inside. J.R. Shepard going to try and work that low line that he liked in the qualifying. He slides back up in front of Bobby Hayes, stays in front of him. Will he still be in front of him here across the line? It looks to be so. Right now, the 98 is making that bottom side work, but will it stay working through all 6 laps?
Well, he's certainly the only one really running down there, so he's got the benefit of some grippier area down there. Proudfoot, though, interesting to watch. He started on the outside, leader here in heats and feature races, does have lane choice, so Proudfoot very much thinking that high line is the way to go, and he's proving it here.
A little bit of a challenge now. It almost looks like the 98 is gaining a little bit. Oh, and behind them, it's also working for Clinton. He's gotten to the inside of Bobby Hayes, and he's managed to actually take third away from Hayes. This track is pulling lots of surprises today. Shepard still not able to get by as we ride on board with Clinton looking back at Hayes.
Indeed, that was a very good move from Gary Clinton following in the tire tracks of J.R. Shepard. He's moving that green 6 up the way. Now they come over to the line. That is Proudfoot taking the white flag.
One more to go. Shepard is yet to be able to get his nose ahead of the 22, but he's certainly threatening. If you get a mistake from the 22, that could be the lead to JR, but nope, not going to be, as the win goes to Proudfoot. Shepard second, Clinton in third. Bobby Hayes mysteriously lacking pace, and he and Joe Segala will get sent off into the consolation after this final heat. Up at the top of that, it's going to be Brennan Myers who starts on the pole. Justin Morton starts from second, and Jason Menda will be third.
In fourth is going to be Michael Davis, followed by Ryan Seneker in fifth.
Okay. Both of those races did not go as expected. Seneker getting himself ready. Now, see, that looks more like my preparation. I always kind of stretch, especially my arms, before I go live. Do you have any pre-race sort of rituals yourself, DJ?
Yeah, I have a sort of workout thing with my hands to get my fingers nice and loosened up from back in my days of studying theater. It's a bit of a pre-show ritual that I go through.
Ah, interesting. Well, seems that he's got the neck cracked and he's ready to go. Sun's still shining out that window, but doesn't matter. He's got VR on, so he is focused and in his own little cave at the moment as the pace truck peels in. Brennan Myers going to be leading Justin Morton to his outside. Last time the leader chose the outside, this time the inside, and it didn't actually work too well for the 25. As he sends it down into 1 and 2, is he going to pay the price for it? He slides back up in front of the 9, little over under as Justin Morton tries to go down low, but it looks like he's going to have it paid right back as Myers retakes the lead.
It was that same problem we saw at Barry in that first heat, trying to throw the slide job and getting up into the slick stuff. It's just repaying as this is Myers and Morton just swapping the lead here. There you see Morton's a little wise to it, tried to take a shallower line coming off of the corner. Now he's going to be closer alongside Brennan Myers here. Myers cuts him off, and Morton decides not to go down for the dive here. He's just going to follow in the tire tracks of the 25.
Ooh, switching it up, and that's going to go to the 25 instead. He still runs the middle line as Justin Morton up high likes the way the momentum carries. It's not going to get him the lead down the back stretch. Will it do better on the front stretch, though? As they come down to 2 to go, doesn't seem to quite be working. Myers has got this one sussed out, putting it right down the middle of the corners. They're going to get the white flag this time by. Menda, by the way, is still running third.
Yeah, it looks like Morton is really struggling to get the power down off of the corners, running up into that slick stuff. He's really getting the car sideways off of the turn, which is not what you want.
Gonna try a low line now, but it's a last-ditch effort, and it doesn't pay off. Myers will take the heat win, goes to Morton in second, and Menda will advance from third. Seneker and Davis find themselves in fourth and fifth, respectively. And that means we now have our consolation race with only 6 drivers, but now they have more laps to run, 10 of them. And this is your order there on your left side. Connor Berry starting from the top spot. Can he do better with that this time than he did in his heat? Bobby Hayes starts next to him. And Ryan Seneker rounds out the first half of the field.
Christopher Schaefer is going to be lining up to the outside of Seneca, and the back row will be made up of Joe Segala and Michael Davis.
Okay, so this will decide where our remaining cars will start in our feature event. We definitely saw a lot more variety than I thought we would. I knew that we'd get some drivers trying some different things, but it frankly looks like it is a bit of a mixed bag as to what's quicker and for who. Do you put that down, DJ, more to driver style, who can kind of adapt to that line the best?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, Joe. Also, something to keep in mind is remember that they implemented a new tire model on these dirt street stocks. We talked about how it was really going to change the handling of the cars and the way they were able to jump off the line. And then Brandon Proudfoot specifically telling us that he thought it was going to change up a lot of the ways people were able to drive. And that's really what we're seeing here is just the multitude of lines that you can take.
Certainly, and that's kind of why I felt like we saw Connor Berry having trouble with that strange line, as he really was chucking the car in sideways, and it did not seem to like that. Let's see if he's learned his lesson from last time. What about Bobby Hayes? Can he find some pace? Green flag is out. Looks like Connor is going to try the middle line. This one looking a little bit smoother. Barry Hayes somewhat higher, and we got a spin behind them. Schaefer and Segala, unfortunately, falling victim to that incident.
Yeah, it looked a little bit there like Segala got loose off the corner and just got into him. That's what we see, but we're going to jump back up front here. Barry, you're right, Joe, figuring out how to make that middle line work and doing it very well. Bobby Hayes trying to follow, but Barry doing a good job to keep a gap of about 2.5 car lengths in between them.
It looks like Connor does have this figured out now, but it's still a few laps to go, and Hayes could maybe try and find grip where Connor has not. They are a good distance ahead of Seneca by multiple car lengths, so he's not appearing to threaten at this stage of the race. Getting close to halfway through now. Hayes at least keeping the 88 honest.
Yeah, very much so, not letting Barry slip away here. And they're both running very similar lines, although it does look like on that last lap, coming through 1 and 2 there, Bobby Hayes maybe got up into the gray a little bit. Tires spun a hair more than he would like them to do.
Hayes trying to run a little lower than what we've got Connor doing. Connor just using that cushion there in the middle, and that's keeping him at arm's length from the 13. Coming now to 4 laps to go. Very far down in 3 and 4 for the 61, nearly touching the tractor tires, but he switches it up and heads up to the high side. Oh, but he drifts out.
Yeah, just trying new things here, both Seneca and Hayes, to see if there's anything to do to be able to reel in Barry whatsoever. We continue to ride on board with Seneca there. You can see just the different movements he's having to put into that steering wheel to keep everything together. Look how early he's having to set the car for the turn there, Joe.
We're now down to 2 laps to go. Connor Berry flipping the script and giving himself the opportunity to fight back in the feature race by getting the best starting position he could from the consolation. White flag is out for the 88. Bobby Hayes still not having the kind of pace that he needs to snatch that win. So it'll be Connor Berry who wins in the consolation. Hayes taking second, Seneca third. Davis has got a bit of a fight with Segala, but it looks like he's going to be able to come away with 4th, Segala 5th, and Christopher Schaefer did not finish, unfortunately. He had some trouble that we missed and looks like took some damage that ended his race prematurely. Now we head into the warm-up for the feature. DJ, man, I mean, after all of that, the consolation made it look like the middle line is the way to go, but the heat races certainly gave us a little bit of different information from that.
Most certainly, and this is where I think, as you were mentioning, Joe, driver style is definitely going to come into play there. We saw how effective Proudfoot was at running that high line. We saw J.R. Shepard maybe preferring a little bit of a middle or lower line. It's all going to come down to driver choice a little bit. the way you drive this dirt car, the way you maneuver it and position it around the corners, there are guys that tend to turn a little bit more with the throttle. There are guys that tend to use the wheel a little bit more to get rotation. So it's really all going to depend on what works for you individually. And that's what I think is really going to create a spectacular race.
Yeah, I'm expecting with all 15 out there, we're going to see them fan out quite a bit in those first few laps. Everybody searching to see what's quickest and find themselves a little bit of clear track. So we get 5 total minutes in this warm-up, and this is mainly here to help drivers familiarize themselves with the wear and tear of the track that has been happening while they have been sitting and watching the other races. Not seeing Bobby Hayes get out there, but of course he does have pretty fresh information on it.
Yeah, indeed he does, but we do keep an eye here. This is the 75 right now of John Wilson making his way around, trying that middle line. You can see just how much dirt is getting kicked up onto the higher lines here. That's going to make things very, very interesting. That's slick and dirty, so that's going to be especially hard to play with. Now we watch him drive down, try to take a little bit of a lower line, a little bit of a slick in on that low line too, so that's going to definitely develop over the course of these next 40 laps.
Yeah, this is on board the 75 of John Wilson. I hadn't even really thought about that the high line kind of has the worst of both worlds right now. Maybe that's why the middle line is becoming preferred by many of the drivers. And then will it start to change if they take too much out of that? 2.5 minutes left to go. Pretty much everybody but Bobby Hayes has been out there to set a time. Justin Morton has the quickest lap in the warm-up. But how about Chris Davis? Going to be starting from the top spot. I'm trying to think if he's ever started the feature race from the pole.
I don't remember in recent memory if he has or not, Joe. He's certainly won heat races before and been in that top 3, top 4, but I can't think of the last time I've seen him on pole.
Yeah, I need to check and see if I can find some stats on that and figure out what his history is there. And I'm especially curious to see if he can capitalize on it and take a victory here tonight, especially up against the likes of the very dominant Brandon Proudfoot, who couldn't seem to get the legs under him in qualifying, but was, of course, pretty quick in his heat. Managed to take the victory away on that one.
Well, and that's sort of a trend we've seen a little bit from Proudfoot. His qualifying's not been as spot on as we're used to seeing, but one of the things that makes Proudfoot such a strong driver is his ability to read the track and really recognize where the fast lanes are, where the slow lanes are. And so over the course of a race, you really see that expertise and that ability to gauge traction levels start to show itself. That's why he tends to really come on strong late in races.
He's getting some practice racing with a 7 here. So now he's getting an idea of how he's going to be up against our driver who starts to his left. At least I would assume his left when we go racing. And Bobby Hayes did eventually get out and very quickly moves his way up the order. So everybody now has set a time in the final 40 seconds, slowly trickling down in this evening's warm-up. We are here for round 7 in the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series at Fairbury Speedway, one of the quarter milers that you can run here on iRacing amongst their dirt ovals, which is proving to be quite a head scratcher for a number of our drivers as they try to figure out where is the quickest way around and who is going to be able to keep that quickest way throughout tonight's 40-lap event. Last few seconds, and then we grid up this evening. I'm looking forward to this one, perhaps the most unknown that we've seen of any of the races, of the feature races so far this season, after a few predictable results have come out in rounds before. So on the pole position, It is going to be Chris Davis. Brandon Proudfoot starts from second. Next to him, Brennan Myers will be P3. John Wilson starts fourth. Inside of row 3, it is J.R. Shepard in fifth, and Justin Morton starts from sixth place. Austin Belkey, P7 for him. Gary Clinton starts eighth. Last of our drivers to automatically jump through was Jason Mann in ninth, and winner in the consolation was Connor Berry starting from 10th.
Behind Connor in 11th is going to be Bobby Hayes, followed by Ryan Seneker and Michael Davis. And then it will be Joe Segala in 14th with Christopher Schaefer in 15th.
Pace truck starts leading them around 2 laps, then they're released. Chris Davis is going to have an almighty fight on his hands, probably, with that yellow fistful of bourbon car in his mirrors. If he manages it, this is going to be a well-earned victory, I imagine. And you can see behind him, that is Brendan Myers in the 25, just carefully watching and waiting.
I'd be a little bit worried here if I was Chris Davis. Remember, Brandon Proudfoot was the only one of the heat race starters to start on that outside lane. He's starting on the outside here.
Pace truck is in. Control given over to the 7, and the green flag is out. It's a very late start. Let's see if that middle line will work better for the 7. So far, the 22's got a good shot. Oh, and a little bit of side-to-side contact. Once again, trying to send it down low. Almost pulling a slider there, Chris Davis. But after the first lap, he's not going to lead it. And we got a caution. That might have taken the lead away. Bobby Hayes was the cause of that caution, of all people.
Yeah, and Joe, I didn't see what happened, but I saw the aftermath. He got his front nose wedged up onto one of the tractor tires and beached himself. So bit of an interesting end to all of this. There's Bobby in the center of your screen there in that blue and white 13.
Davis is going to get into the back of him, and then you're going to see Schaefer kind of come into it, unable to avoid. He gets going. Davis eventually gets going, but then poor Bobby, like you mentioned, beaches himself and had to take a tow because he had nowhere to go. As you can see on the left-hand side, Proudfoot did indeed get the lead from Chris Davis being just a nose ahead when the yellow was thrown.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's going to really favor, as we talked about, this is a pretty late down the front stretch start-finish line, so it's going to favor guys with a little bit more momentum coming off of that. Maybe the high line's going to be a little bit more significant. Now they start to grid up here, ready to go for this restart.
Ooh, and Davis is going to line up behind him. Interesting. Doesn't like that low line. Green flag is out. Will this pay dividends? Oh no, he's going to get into Morton. Both of them are into the fence. And it's a big wreck for Chris Davis, who's going to wind up on his lid. Another driver forced to take a tow. Poor Morton, kind of an innocent victim in that one.
Yeah, he really was. As you said, Chris Davis almost looking like he thought it was a single file restart and then just drifts across the nose of Justin Morton as if he didn't know he was there. I really don't have any explanation for that.
Car that actually went underneath Davis was the 45 of Menda. We're going to watch Morton's perspective here.
Yeah, so there you can see.
Yeah, still looking for the restart. Yeah, here it is. He saw it clearing, pulled a Senna, and the results were that they both had some pretty big damage.
Morton's entitled to that gap. Davis left it open, and he closed the door when he came alongside, but we're ready to go back and restart here.
All right, Myers now to the inside of Proudfoot. He's not pulling the same mistake. He's going to stay right next to him. Green flag is out. Oh, he struggles to get that power down. Shepard eyes an opportunity. He's now running in third, maybe trying to take second away from that blue and red 25. Oh, but he bangs the wall off of 2.
Yeah, but he's going to have that same momentum shift here again, but ooh, he got a little bit sideways mid-corner there, so Shepard not fully able to capitalize.
Another caution, this one was Schaefer. It has just been a whole lot of yellow flags here today. Schaefer going to get a big hit from Michael Davis coming into turn 3.
Yeah, there you can see the result of that. So this is Schaefer in the center of your screen. Now we're going to be looking out the back. Yeah, Davis just coming in super, super hot, not really able to judge it down. And that is going to spin Schaefer around, just a helpless victim there on that one.
So we've got Bobby Hayes, who's still in pit lane. Davis actually retired, unfortunately. And we've still got 13 cars left on the lead lap. Morton actually back up to 12th. And we're going to wave off the restart as they're still trying to get them all lined up. We had this problem last time, DJ, where the cautions were so quick, drivers couldn't quite get lined up in time.
Yeah, it's one of the weird quirks here on the iRacing system that does tend to happen from time to time with just how fast the system tells the pace truck to go around. But now everybody's going to flank up nice and easy. Again, this is going to be Proudfoot on the outside with Myers on the inside.
Last time it looked like the 25 had a hard time getting the power down. Can he this time? Green flag is out, and it looks a little bit better. Shepard not able to do anything. Oh, we got a spinner and another caution. This time the 24 of Austin Belkey, a very small incident comparatively.
Yeah, Belkey just got sideways going into the corner, took a little bit too much speed coming in, and that number 6 of Gary Clinton just had nowhere to go but into the side of him. A little bit of that was set up by contact by Connor Berry and John Wilson in front. That's what sent Belkey spinning around. That is my apologies to Belkey. He was a bit of a victim there as well.
Yeah, 3 wide down into the turn, and unfortunately the bounce rippled to the inside. And Belkey is now at the back of the pack and has big enough damage, he's going to have to take a spare car. Is he going to be able to come out on the lead lap? Miraculously, he is.
Very surprising on such a short quarter miler like this. Lights are still on the pace truck, so everybody's got a little bit of time to try to get back in order here as Proudfoot starts to get the crew ready to go go double wide to restart.
It looks like lights are out, so it peels in. And Proudfoot is getting a lot of practice on these restarts. This must be some kind of record on cautions as the green flag comes out, and another spinner behind him. We're going to stay green. He's off the racing line. Up at the front, Proudfoot takes the lead with Shepard looking for second. Once again, challenging Myers.
Yeah, he's running that high line. He's got a good run here off of 3 and 4, able to get a nose ahead at the timing stripe. I think advantage is going to start shifting here over to JR as it looked like Proudfoot banged the wall a little bit there.
And a little bit of beating and banging behind them through 3 and 4 as drivers were hitting side by side. Myers blinking very badly. Shepard will want to complete this pass soon. Behind them, our fastest qualifier, Connor Berry, was starting to close, but he lost out, losing traction, coming off of 2. Still side by side for second place. Myers committed to the lower line.
Myers holding it well, doing a very good job to keep J.R. Shepard honest here. Shepard continues to run that high line. He's got more momentum coming off the corner, able to just barely eke his way ahead before they have to dive back into 3 and 4. Here he goes again, same corner, different, same story.
So middle line, just trying it as best he can, but Shepard seems to be pretty good about running that high side. And how about Proudfoot? Suddenly goes as low as possible, doing the limbo out here. Doesn't like it though, comes back up to the top.
And that's what I was talking about earlier, Joe. That is Proudfoot's inherent ability to just read the track. I think he's seeing something that he maybe wanted to see if that low line was working a little bit better, realized it wasn't, and now behind him, J.R. Shepard fully into second place.
And the 25 fully gives up on the middle line as well. Nope, he's going to try it one more time. Still looking to see if that bottom will give him grip. Connor Berry recovered from his near spin. He's in 4th, trailing behind the pair of them. Proudfoot continuing to set quick laps today.
Yeah, Proudfoot, as he often is just in a class of his own here, but we ride on board with Connor Berry as he flirts with that outside wall, riding around in 4th. I know he'd be hoping that Brennan Myers and J.R. Shepard would fight a little bit, maybe bring them back into play for himself.
Got a bit of a battle back between Menda and Belkey. What a recovery from the 24, already up to 7th. Oh, but he is hard into the outside wall. He actually uses it well, and he's going to get away with it. He'll take 6th away from Menda.
And Joe, if you look right up ahead, that is the number 9 of Justin Morton, who's also putting on a bit of a clinic here, getting himself back up in the order. He's already all the way up into 5th.
So we ride on board with Belke now, starting to gain on Morton after having a very hard shunt into the wall and watching a car tumble side over side in front of him. Morton is looking at a top 5. And just a little bit in front, you can kind of see there have been some attempts from Myers to keep trying to get by Shepard, but they haven't been working. That's the same as what we saw before. Oh, but maybe not. That time the exit looked pretty good.
Yeah, able to get a good one there. He's starting to come up the track a little bit more, trying to run that line ever higher. Definitely closing in. Ooh, big clobber of the wall.
As they come off of 4, we're down to 9 laps to go now. Brendan Myers experimenting, trying to see if there's something that'll allow him to get back around J.R. Shepard. But that 98 today, oh, well, he was looking good. He hit the wall. That could be the opening that the 25 needs. Carries a lot of speed off the corner. Shepard fights back, but this is the edge that Myers has been trying for.
Oh, but Myers gets a little bit squirrely coming off of turn 2, and that blunts his momentum down. Advantage shifts back to J.R. Shepard ever so slightly. Myers still very, very close behind, though. It's not done yet.
Behind them, the same fight happening between Barry and Morton. Morton on the low side, Barry on the high side. Both of the drivers working the low side, not able to overtake quite yet.
No, not exactly yet. We ride on board with Belke there. You see Morton in the tire tracks of Barry in front of him. Morton had some very good success early on. Running that low line, dives it down here. Let's try to see if he can get anything to go. Doesn't look like he's quite got the overlap, but bumps into the wall for Connor Barry is going to give him a little bit of a chance.
Well, it looks like now that we've got drivers who figured out how to maximize each of these lines, we've got something of a stalemate at the top of the field. Not so for Proudfoot. He is stretching away, continuing to extend the gap over everybody else. Barry certainly making a lot of use of that outside wall.
Yeah, he is definitely taking some good knocks on it there. But Justin Morton not able to take advantage of it and really make a move whatsoever. And he's running out of time here, Joe, as we're about to hit 2 laps to go.
Yeah, the 22 has control of the field right now with almost a quarter of a lap over J.R. Shepard sitting in second. There you see the 22 on your screen, actually coming up to lap traffic now. Joe Segala in front of him. Of course, it's too late for that really to play too big of a factor. Segala should be able to stay out of the way, knowing that this is the white flag lap. Out of the final turn, Brandon Proudfoot, another victory on the season, his 5th, as J.R. Shepard gets P2 and Barry rounds out the podium. Looks like behind them. Oh, what happened to Brendan Myers?
Joe, I saw it. He got real squirrely coming off to take the white flag. That lost him the position to Connor Barry. And then on that dive into turn 3, he caught the tire barriers on the last lap.
Let's take a look at it. And this also involved, J.R. Shepard, it looked like. Or not J.R. Shepard, Morton, Justin Morton, rather.
Yeah, there you can see it again. Justin just ends up getting pinched.
Wow. Turns him on his lid, and he DNFs. Doesn't get to complete the last lap. His tires just gripped that outside wall, and as soon as he was steered into that little barrier, it sent him on a barrel roll. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results, but stick around because we've got driver interviews coming your way. Welcome back to Fairbury Speedway. Round 7 in the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series saw Brandon Proudfoot take his 5th win of the season. It was J.R. Shepard who followed him home in 2nd, but Connor Berry snuck back up into 3rd after failing his heat race and then recovering with a win in the consolation. He started from 10th and climbed his way up the field. Austin Belkey was P4 behind him. John Wilson with a well-earned top 5 was followed by Gary Clinton in 6th. Sineker up 5 spots from 12th to 7th was then followed by Joe Segala, even more positions up for him, 14th to 8th. 9th went to Menda. Last driver to finish is Brennan Myers, DNF'd in 10th.
Yeah, and then behind Brennan Myers was Justin Morton. We talked about just how rough of a run he had. Christopher Schaefer behind him, Michael Davis and Chris Davis and Bobby Hayes, all DNFs.
That takes us to our winner for this evening, Brandon Proudfoot. And as we pull him in and talk to him, the 22 didn't take the pole again, but took it where it counted most, which was the victories in the races themselves. Brandon, we've noticed a bit of a trend that your qualifying doesn't seem to always put you on the top spot. Is that something you feel like you need to work on, or is it just the competition kind of one-upping you?
A little bit of both. I'm pretty highly a rhythm driver, so yeah, here at Bootleg Racing League, we do get 4 laps of qualifying. That definitely helps out. But there's certain times where there are certain track states that I think the top's in, just from my World of Outlaw days, and I got to remember I'm in a street stock and I don't got the power to come off the corner sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so you talk about needing a rhythm then. Let's discuss those restarts in the first half of the race. Caution after caution. Do those mess you up when you find yourself interrupted that way?
Yeah, it makes it hard to get in that rhythm, especially with all those caution laps. You got all the drivers usually single file behind you, so wherever you decide to run, it's gonna move around the marbles, and even though you're not on the really racing on the racing surface, it does affect the track a little bit, so it changes it a little.
Well, it was still fun to watch, especially behind you, since there was so many battles. As we head out of here to another very short track at Lanier, do you think you can make it 6 out of 8?
Yeah, I'm going to try. The track drive's pretty similar in my opinion. There's a little bit of an apron down there on the bottom that can provide a little bit of a inside groove there. You'll see a very thin strip there, about 1 car width for the street stocks here, to where you'll see that little strip kind of be there primarily throughout the night. I can't speak. But I like running the wall there personally, and depending on how it breaks down, it has a opportunity of breaking down to where we're going to have 2 racing lines like we did in the heat races tonight.
Well, we look forward to that for sure. Congratulations on another win, Brandon.
Thanks, guys.
That was Brandon Proudfoot, victor here today. As up next, DJ is caught up with J.R. Shepard.
I have indeed, JR. A good run for you out there. Looked like you were really able to put that car on either the high or the low or the medium line, kind of taking all of it during the course of the races and the heats.
Yeah, the track definitely had multiple grooves there. So, I mean, that's nice to see. So it gives you opportunities and you can kind of run different places. But, yeah, there at the end, this track just typically becomes a high line track as far as being able to hold off people, and that's just where I decided to stay. But I don't know that overall it was the fastest, but when you're racing people, that's the place to be.
Well, you had some really great battles there, I think, through the majority of that, obviously holding off Brennan Myers. But I want to draw back to the beginning, that the restart sort of kerfluffle that we had that you were luckily, able to avoid between Davis and Morton. Talk me through that from your perspective and sort of the avoidance you had to take, because it looked like you got a pretty big windshield view of it.
Yeah, that was unexpected, a little bit crazy. For that restart, I guess there was some confusion on what lane Davis needed to be in for that restart, and looked like they just came together on the straightaway. And yeah, I was just in the right position. If I'd been a little bit higher up, I'd have probably gotten into it pretty bad and went to the back. So Racing, you got to be good and fast, but you got to be lucky most of the time too.
I hear that, my friend. Well, next week we head to Lanier. We just heard Brandon talk a little bit about how he's kind of thinking that this may be a very similar track to what we saw tonight. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree. It'll be similar as far as how you drive it. If you can make the bottom work, it's probably going to be the best place to go to. But yeah, the high side's probably going to be where you want to be if you're side by side with somebody. So it's going to be a toss up. We'll just have to see how track conditions are when we get there. And yeah, hopefully we can have another good run.
Well, we'll be watching for sure. JR, anybody you'd like to thank tonight for the second place?
Yeah, just Bootleg Racing League for putting this on, and my team, Different Path Motorsports, and of course everything that you guys do at GSRC. We really appreciate you guys making us look good.
Of course, JR. That was JR Shepard, your second place finisher here tonight. And now Joe Peak has caught up with third place finisher Connor Berry.
Connor, before we get to the feature race, let's talk about your heat, because we were a bit baffled. You were running a very unusual line, and it looks like it cost you what could have been an advancing spot.
Yeah, I was just trying to find lines for the main, and it really did cost me. I mean, I think it was like lap 4. I pushed high in turn 4, and I fell back to second. Then the last lap, I went into hard, and I tapped, and then I spun around. But then I went to the last chance qualifier, and I won that, and I knew that I was good to go for the main.
Well, it certainly was impressive to see you climb through the field, even starting from 10th. You had to overtake a number of cars. This was such a chaotic night with so many cautions out there and so many various lines that were up for grabs. I mean, how did you navigate all that and not fall victim to some of the incidents?
I was just running my race. I mean, I was just focusing on myself and just trying to be smooth. This track, it was hard to stay smooth and keep your and be smooth and keep it going fast. So I was trying to focus on that. Towards the end, I started to make some mistakes, but then I got it back together. Then I saw that third got in the wall on the third to last lap. Then I saw it, and I knew if I wanted a shot at this third place, I would have to just be smart and look for the pass, and that's what I did. Then I don't know what went on back there, but I got third by, I think, 2 seconds on fourth, so I was pretty clear from behind.
Yeah, definitely seemed like a little bit of luck and a little bit of your own hard work helped you get up to there. Now, I find it interesting that you are our lone driver, at least for this evening, hailing from Club California. That's not one I think we have any dirt tracks from yet. Is there any ones local to you that you're kind of hoping iRacing will come out and get once the pandemic is over?
There's not too many tracks near me. I mean, we have more of the short course tracks near us, like Glen Helen and stuff. And I mean, besides that, there's not too much dirt track things here. I mean, there's a lot of road stuff, but not too much of dirt. I mean, yeah.
Well, it's still obviously a lot of motorsports around you, it sounds like, which I'm sure is a lot of fun. Congratulations on a third, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you next week as well.
Yep. Thanks to my whole team, Jim Beaver, EE Sports. We put in work for this race, and we went 1 and 3 and had 1 and 2 fast lap and qualified 1 and 2. So that was good to see. I want to thank General Tire, Polaris Razor, Vision Wheel, and CBR.
That was Connor Berry, your third place finisher, and that's going to wrap us up. So let's also give a thank you to the Bootleg Racing League for bringing us back for another season of coverage, and also a thank you to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts, which are listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, DJ, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com or simply check out our social media. We've got it listed here at the bottom of the screen. If you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store. It's simply simracingmerch.com/GSRC. Link is in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. The next race, as we mentioned, is at Lanier's Dirt version. That'll be Friday, May 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. See you on the track.